Back to the stream, and the round just started. So this is Timia and against Simon, and we'll see point of view from Red here. So Red went for side elephant and securing the center quickly. I also updated the graphic, as you can see. So Hot Combat and Dimar are first with the same number of points, followed by Fabian, and in fourth position Antonio. So yeah, the idea is to bring the cannon to the center to play secure game. Sorry. And blue is now going with the rook. At the same point, at the same time, there is the probably very interesting game between Dimitri and Fabian, because they both have the kind of same number of points, not so far, and Fabian already won against Antonio. That's a very good performance, and I think the one winning that game has great chance to be first of or second of the tournament, in my opinion. But it will depend if it's a 7-point win or a 2-4 point win. And there they came with a very similar structure. Red will have the rook here, that gave some attention, and yeah, nothing to say yet in that game. Fabian is taking his time, good and steady. That works. And with the elephant here, the pawn that is secured, and now there is space to bring material to the center. Most possible can be to push there, but have to calculate clearly. And we have also, oh, sorry, it's the same game. There's a game I don't see. And here we have the two rooks. Blue is playing defense, and I don't see the rush of bringing the elephant to that side, and at that particular moment there would have been other solutions, because the rook cannot be bring there because the elephant threatened, and it seems a bit not so intuitive. And it seems that the game is already over, and Adam lost by checkmate. That was a very fast game. They played like super speed. I'm having a look. Yeah, that's a very nice checkmate that happened here. So Mongolia is scoring 7 points more, so still in the lead, still first with 100% of a 7-point victory. But the next challenges will be harder for Hot Combat, probably. if blue had the elephant here, or not in the other side, he could kind of activate the rook like this, and after that sacrifice here, and that would bring some activity for the rook, but that's not possible because the elephant is on the board, and blue is building like very secure fortress before attacking probably, and red is also kind of castling. That would be the equivalent of castling at chess, because that's a few moves to hide the king and also in that case give mobility to the cannons. But because of the score difference, blue will have at some point to attack and try something. But be patient, that's every time the idea. They may be annoying moves for red, like pawn here, if rook here, pawn here. Could have done. So blue is offering to exchange the rooks, and in case of take, this rook will quickly enter in the play, while this one will need one more tempo. So that's very playable for blue, but red can ignore that. Alright, so the central square is useful, and some people will join in, and indeed red is trying to activate the rook, and blue will probably do the same and also link the pawn to the center. So back to the game between Dimitri and Fabian. No piece has been exchanged yet, and the configuration is different because we have side elephant against inner elephant. So those squares, they won't be controlled by the other elephant with reciprocity, because that's not the same symmetry at the beginning, and red wisely moved the pawn out of those squares to kind of block the mobility of that elephant. And we may see at some point some play from red to try to push where there is the minority, but before that you hide your king like this, for example, and the cannon can put some pressure here. For blue, the idea, I think, should be also to hide the king with the general, then coming back. Okay, I haven't saw this one. That's quite annoying for red, because the only way to defend is a rook here, and after rook here can bring dead the cannon here, and once the cannon is there is a threat to gain the rook, because if the rook is there then it's locked if the cannon goes, and if the cannon doesn't, whatever the case, there is still the risk of pawn take, and now that gives a very good file for this rook that can go somewhere or be way more active. So here blue is now in the lead, but the game is far from being over, of course, and blue is also in the lead of time. So what do we have here? Bringing the pawn to the center, rook check, cannon, that's the best move. Finishing to secure the fortress, that's good to know. Sometimes you want to attack before, and when you need it you forget that. Here that elephant is a bit of a problem for red because he hasn't so much squares and he's blocking the other elephant for example taking this pawn. So I don't know, the idea could be to bring the rook and try to break and give space to those elephants, but red played pawn here just to chase the elephant and there is only one square. This pawn is quite isolated. It can be brought to the center and it should be exchanged because here that's a pawn chain of two and here that's an isolated pawn, so you bring the pawn to the center and that creates a weakness here. And if blue refuses, there is a way to win a pawn, and the way to refuse for blue could be also to come back to the exterior, but in that case you lose the link and you lose a pawn whatever happens. So that's not so easy because we could think about some variation like cannon here that would prevent to take, but that would free the file, and if the elephant's there simply moves on, I don't know, take the pawn, that's check, and those are the situations you want to avoid. The rook there has checked on the cannon but is not achieving so much. It would have been better in that position, but now it's too late, so the rook will have to probably stay here. And here I would have gone with the other elephant because that would have enabled the cannon to jump and jump back more than simply that square, and also because there is two pawns there, and while this elephant has no big deal here. So if this elephant is here, this one could have been useful here to threaten here or here. So with the other elephant it was a better move. Okay, rook take control. Still there's not enough material to bring some pressure. The cannon is pinned and there's no way, and that can backfire with those kind of cannon moves. Not yet, but simply creating a few threats. With the rook you would like also to go in the back of the adversary to kind of crush the pawn, but that's not possible in that case because there is a knight here, and if the rook goes there there may be a threat of the elephant when the knight is away. And we'll have a look at how continues the game between Dimitri and Fabian, and it seems that Dimitri was able to exchange one elephant for two pawns, which is good, but the other difference is that there is no pawns in that side of the board, and that creates holes. And for example rook here and cannon there, that force the exchange of rook, and after that the rook can take the knight. So there's, in my opinion, a very good advantage here for blue, also because that elephant have interesting squares. What was the move? So cannon here, rook takes the file, and here red could have not win but be very annoying for the rook and still have to pay attention to the defense because there is some threats, but it would have been better to simply lock the rook. But the king hides and that's quite safe. But there may be a little combination here for red. Simply bringing the rook because this is pinned. No, because once you got the rook, that holds the position. Sorry, doesn't work. Not so easy to try to think and swap and try to get into the game at the same time. But for sure, Dimitri is putting a lot of pressure about the time control to Fabian. That's 2 minutes against 12 almost. And on the other side, we have a rook. Oh, I think there's a knight that has been lost. Yeah, maybe that was a miscalculation or the elephant. Of course, it is possible to take back that elephant, but that's an elephant for a knight and that's better for blue. Best move is to take since there would be a little rook trap, but I think he will see that. So what happened? Simply cannon here, and yeah. Yeah, elephant takes, and it's a bit falling apart for red because the elephant may go here and have nasty threats. Even there, does that elephant, the only squares to go are here, and that's a very bad square. That's something you want to avoid. The other way to defend is rook there, but rook there is not working because the cannon can simply go to the diagonal and threaten and the rook, and once the rook moved the elephant. Mm, yeah, the rook to the center there is directly punished by knight here, and now there's only one square remaining. But the rook is getting out of the play, and blue will simply take. And after there will be a hole here for the knight, and that will be complicated. But I'm also very interested in that game, how it behaves, and we can see that Fabian is in Bayoyomi. So, sorry, back, cannon here, cannon there, yes, taking file, hiding the king. He finished to hide the king, bringing knight, and yeah, that was the move I was talking about, but now it's not fully working because of cannon here and that. Oh no, I thought he would play that. Knight to the center. Here. I don't get the point so much of bringing the rook here, because this is quite solid when a rook. It can become weak if a cannon is able to manage its way here, but the rook doesn't have so much advantage here than it has here. Here would have been more active. And now we are waiting for blue to answer that. There is a funny move to try, like rook here, to threaten cannon here, because if the rook is there, then the elephant cannot move. He has 0 squares, and the rook is dead. That could be something to try, or with this rook, that's the same idea. Maybe it's better with this rook. And yeah, what's on the mind of blue is to push in order to gain the elephant for the pawn. Alright, so here take the elephant and bring the knight as we mentioned, and the knight was threatened by the cannon and the rook is threatened, but if the rook moves then the knight is not threatened anymore, so that's not a big deal. You simply have to pay attention to maybe the elephant. Look here, and that's Bayoyomi, and I think red is in a complicated situation because there is a hanging pawn here. The other knight can be activated, or the elephant. There's a 3 linked pawn without compensation. That's a way to defend the cannon, but the breaker is a cannon takes because it allows to take the elephant, and that should end in very hard to defend because there will be the rook and the cannon here. Because if the elephant moves, then the cannon is alone in that situation. For example, elephant here. There is the funny trick. If cannon backs, simply rook take, and you cannot take back with the pawn because it's pinned, considering the cannon is using the pawn to jump and check the king if nothing happens. Rook check, that's an intermediate move, but oh, I would have gone with that pawn. It's better to defend with the other one if there is no cannon that can go here. So elephant check, good move. Here, rook moves, cannon check. Actually, with cannon check, it would have been possible to take the elephant, because okay, it's an empty file with a cannon threat, but if rook check, I mean double check, king can go back to the center, and if the other elephant joins, it's covered by the rook, so the position holds. Still, cannon here is also very safe. And here, in case of repetition, red has to find another idea, because blue is simply defending and red initiated the repetition. So yeah. Elephant in the corner, that's to threaten the cannon, but it won't be so strong if the rooks goes there, because the rook's here, and there is the risk of a rook here also, so doubling the rook on the blocked elephant, and that could be a way to win the elephant. So blue is a bit more in the defense, but still I wouldn't say that he is in a worst position. Pawn takes, because that knight has no defenses. And here what to do with blue, you can remember that your knight here is protecting, so cannon here is very strong because it protects, it attacks this rook and it attacks this elephant. That's the solid move to play in that situation. How about our game here? Blue in the complete control of the situation, so check with the cannon. Here there's a free knight, so simply take the material if it's given. And for red, even if it seems desperate, that's good not to resign, because you can try to hope that, I don't know, there's a king opposition or something that leads to point counting. So yeah, play your games until the end, that's good. Knight here, forking the rook and the cannon, and the best move may not be to take the cannon, because we can think as the cannon as a blocker for the king to go, and we can try to check and bring more material the knight that will remove and place some more aggressive. Taking material works fine. So let's see if there is a checkmate, a little puzzle to do. Okay, yeah. That will be a checkmate in a few moves, so I'm coming back to the other game. What happened here? A cannon here, yeah, that wasn't the best, because that's a knight. Oh, and king. Oh yeah, I haven't thought about that nice double cannon, but still the idea to use the cannon is here. Yeah, that's well done. Maybe red should have given this rook instead of this one, because this one is not so active and it would need 2 tempos, while this one had an interesting row to play, like for example, yeah, no, it's not that complicated, whatever. Takes pawn here, rook back. And now elephant takes, and that's I would say over, because if pawn takes, then rook check, and after rook check, rook takes cannon, and if king takes, since it's defended, rook takes, and after rooks take knight and bring the other rook in the fortress, and that will be it. Yeah, I haven't think about the solution, simply not to take nothing, but the cannon is not defended, so that will be a checkmate victory for Dimitri, if I'm not wrong, and that's a checkmate in one move here. Yeah. No. Yeah, checkmate. And Red is doing his best to stay alive, but that won't be enough, I'm afraid. So here you can simply push the pawn and elephant checkmate. Yeah, you can do that also. But here, simply bring the elephant, because those squares are good to control, like this. The idea that Simon is trying to do is to bring the cannon there. And that's checkmate. Okay, so I will be preparing next round, so see you soon.